All right, we got a message from Harriet Sawyer, who sends her regrets. She is a dual member still, but lives in Florida, so she was unable to attend. And also, Carol Wells wrote, "So sorry for this very late reply. I did hope to make it, but poor planning on my part has prevented me. The Friday offering sounds especially inviting, and Saturday's program sounds all-encompassing with great AAUW focus. My best to all for a great conference." Thank you.
Now that she's handed me the mic back, the secretary will call the roll of branches. Would one member from each branch please answer present?
Albion?
Present.
Ann Arbor?
Present.
Battle Creek?
Here.
Bay City? Bay City? Big Rapids? Birmingham?
Present.
Cass City?
Here.
Dearborn?
Here.
Detroit?
Present.
Escanaba?
Here.
Farmington?
Here.
Flint? Gaylord? Grand Rapids?
Present.
Grosse Pointe? Holland?
Here.
Iron Mountain Kingsford?
Present.
Jackson?
Present.
Excellent. Kalamazoo area? Okay. Lansing? Livonia?
Here.
Ludington?
Present.
Marquette?
Here.
Marshall?
Present.
Midland?
Present.
Monroe?
Present.
Northville Novi? Anybody from Northville Novi? Plymouth Canton?
Present.
Pontiac Waterford? Port Huron? Rochester?
Here.
Romeo?
Present.
Saginaw? South Haven? Traverse City?
Present.
And Wyandotte Downriver.
Here.
It's my honor to introduce my predecessors, past presidents of AAUW Michigan. Would you each stand up as your name is called? Mickey Adele, Sally Doty, Janet Watkins, Kathy Shaw, and Meg Brown. Could we give a hand to these? Thank you. The front table today is, the people sitting at the front table are Amy Shamrow, our secretary, parliamentarian Myra Willis. She is a member of the Canadian Federation of University Women, Oakville, Ontario, and she's my good friend, so I'm glad she's able to be here with us today. And timekeeper, Barbara Bullock of AAUW Wyandotte Downriver. Yeah, she's ready to keep us on track. You will not be allowed to go over on the debates. The chair of the Tellers Committee is Jackie Hector. Jackie, would you please stand up? And all the members of the Tellers Committee are from AAUW Wyandotte Downriver, and I really appreciate their taking on this role for me today. The members include Jane Russ, Leanne Shade, and, well, you brought me some new names, Barbara. You gave me new names.
Yeah. Kathleen Daly.
Kathleen Daly.
And Jane Russ.
I did say Jane Russ.
Jackie Hector. And myself.
Yeah, okay. So those are the members of the Tellers. The Registration and Credentials Committee is chaired by Sharon Bello-Bradich of AAUW Plymouth Canton. Is Sharon in the room? Sharon, would you please present the credentials report?
You want me to do it with the mic?
Yes, please.
I have a first grade recess voice.
You want money.
This is the first Credentials Committee worksheet report for April 30th, 2016. In attendance, the State Board of Directors, there are 5. Past presidents of Michigan, 2. College university representatives, 0. Members serving on association boards, 0. Branch presidents or designee, 21. Branch voting delegates, which do not include any of the branch presidents or their designee, 53. Members at large, 0. Convention committee chairs, 0. So the total number of accredited delegates is 81, and the total number of branches represented, 25. Thank you very much.
The question is on the adoption of the report of the Credentials Committee. Are you ready for the question?
Yes.
Now, this report is amendable and debatable. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of adopting the first report of the Credentials Committee, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. I declare the presence of a quorum. The Secretary will now present the proposed convention rules found on pages 12 and 13 of the State Convention Book.
By direction of the Convention Rules Committee, I move that adoption of the rules of order.
The motion has been made to adopt the Convention Rules of Order. Do you wish to have them read aloud? No. You know, the little notes in my script say, expect a no. The question is on the adoption of the Convention Rules. Is there any discussion on the privileges of the floor? Those in favor of the adoption of the rules, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. The convention rules have been adopted. If there is no objection, the agenda as it appears in the State Convention Book on page 10 will be adopted. The chair reserves the right to make changes with the approval of the Assembly. If there is no objection, the agenda is adopted. The minutes of the last state convention were approved by the State Board of Directors at the October 2015 board meeting. These minutes are found on pages 5 to 7 of the State Convention Book. If there is no objection, the minutes of this state convention will be referred to the AAUW of Michigan Board of Directors for approval. Is there any objection? You all make this just so easy. Hearing no objection, the minutes will be approved by the board. The members have been appointed by the president to review the minutes of this meeting and present them to the board for approval are Jan Van Gass of Iron Mountain, Kingsford, and Secretary, AAUW Michigan Secretary, Amy Shamrow. We will now hear the report of the Finance Vice President, Karen Mars. See pages 20 to 25 in the convention book.
I probably should, I'm sure it's in.
Well, I'm happy to report at this point, having had this job for almost a year, that I sure didn't know what I was getting myself in for. But I thank you all for electing me last year anyway. I take it you don't want me to read the whole report. I was pretty sure of that. I do want to make a couple of notes though. Dues are now being received. So pay up, join again, and become a member for 2016-2017. And I'm
happy that we have all the books in order and are ready to make those receipts when they come in. The other thing that, when I was putting the membership numbers together for this annual report, was delighted to see that we had 194 new members this year, according to my latest recordings, and a membership of 2408, which is only down just a very little bit from last year. And while I was having fun looking at it, please notice in your book that there are 8 members who have been members more than 70 years and are still active. And I think that's exciting. Are there any questions at all about the report? Then I'll turn it back over to Vic.
Thank you, Karen. You know, I am not an I daughter or a T crosser. I am a big picture person. You will notice that I even have a huge typo in my report, my annual report, vestige of a previous report. I didn't change the date on the header. But it is such a joy to have as my finance VP someone who is an I daughter and a T crosser and make sure that everything goes swimmingly. Thank you so much, Karen. So we're now moving on to the reports of the officers. They can be found on pages 26 to 36. Are there any additions to the reports in the convention book? Hearing none, we'll move on to the report of the Resolutions Committee. So the next item of business is the report of the Resolutions Committee. The chair of the committee is Sally Doty from the Birmingham branch, and the members are Jan Van Gass, Iron Mountain, Kingsford, Susan Hampton, Escanaba, Judith Webster, Birmingham, Mary Fox, Gaylord, and the alternates were Sue Longstreet and Lee from Birmingham and Lee Shelby from Wyandotte Downriver. Sally, please present the report of the Resolutions Committee.
Thank you. The Resolutions Committee report is found on pages 38 and 39 of the program book. In addition to presenting resolutions which have been brought to it, the Resolutions Committee has the responsibility for reviewing past state convention resolutions and declaring them either current or historic. A resolution is reviewed every 5 years as long as it is considered current. The resolutions declared historic are maintained as background resource for policy development. There were no proposed resolutions presented to our committee for consideration this year. The committee reviewed 5 resolutions on their 5-year anniversaries and now reports to the membership that the following 5 remain current. Education of the Gifted, which has been around since 1976. Ernestine Rose Recognition Resolution, 2011. Support of Public Education, which is 1996. The 3-state strategy for ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment from 2006, and water use of the Great Lakes in 1976. Further, we recommend that the Ernestine Rose Recognition Resolution be pursued by the AAUW Michigan State Board. This is the first time it has come up for review, and we think that they should try again to make it happen. And further, that the 3-state strategy for ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment be disseminated to all branches and public policy arms of the AAUW Michigan for action. These resolutions are published in the report and can be read there.
I have to speak again. We have to speak. It's your turn. Sally, please present the courtesy resolution.
Whereas AAUW Michigan extends grateful thanks for the time and energy expended on our behalf to the appointed, oops, that's the wrong page. No, it isn't. Well, you can read it. Okay. We
left out these 2 whereas.
I did leave out these 2 whereas. Okay, thanks. I knew it was a whereas somewhere. Whereas the members of AAUW Michigan express their thanks for the hospitality extended to this 94th state convention by our host branch, Birmingham, to the state officers and chairs, the state convention committees, the speakers, and to all others whose work make these meetings a valuable experience. Whereas AAUW of Michigan expresses appreciation to all board officers and board committees for their many hours of service on our behalf, and extends special thanks to those members whose terms of service end in 2016. Elizabeth Haynes, President, Janet Watkins, Vice President Program, Sharon Dunn, AAUW Funds Director, and Amy Shinghrow, Secretary. Whereas AAUW of Michigan extends grateful thanks to the time and energy expended on our behalf to the appointed directors completing their service on the 2015-16 board, Jenny Andrews, Marketing, Communications, and Newsletter Editor, Lee Savage, College and University Director, Susan Hampton, Bylaws Director, and whereas AAUW welcomes the officers elected at this convention and pledges support and cooperation as we work together to promote the mission of the organization, now therefore be it resolved that members of the AAUW of Michigan gathered at this annual meeting salute all those named in this resolution and all who are present.
You have heard the courtesy resolution. Those in favor, raise your blue voting card. Lower your card. Those opposed, raise your blue voting card. The ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Let us thank Sally and the members of the Resolutions Committee for their work. The next item on the agenda is the report of the Bylaws Committee. There is one amendment for your consideration. Again, we have relied on Susan Hampton from the Escanaba and Area Branch to chair this committee. The committee members are Susan Hampton as chair, Elizabeth Haynes, AAUW Michigan President, Coco Seward, Birmingham and Detroit branches, Kathy Tobin, Saginaw Branch, Carol Wells, Dearborn Branch, Betty Chenoweth, former Bylaws and Policy Director and member of the Midland Branch, Janet Watkins, AAUW Michigan Program VP, Lynn Haley from the Marshall Branch, and Sharon Dunn from the Cass City area. Susan, are you here? You gotta come up here and use the mic. Please present the report of the committee.
The Bylaws and Policy Committee presents one amendment to the bylaws of AAUW of Michigan. The intent, rationale, current bylaw, proposed amendment, and proposed amended bylaw are listed in your program on pages 41 and 42. Under the proposed amended bylaw, proposed additions are bold-faced and underscored. Proposed deletions are bold-faced and struck out. Amending the terms of office for members of the AAUW Michigan Board of Directors. Article 6, Officers and Directors. Section 3A, Terms of Office. The rationale is as follows. At the request of the AAUW Michigan Board of Directors, the Bylaws Committee looked at extending the terms of office for elected positions to permit officers to hold the same office for 2 2-year terms. The rationale for extending the terms of office was that in some cases, officers would like to continue the initiatives begun during their term. Moreover, the first year of the term is a learning year, and as officers near the completion of their second year, they finally begin to feel confident in their role. Offering officers the opportunity to continue to utilize the knowledge gained through the first term of office in a second term permits members of the AAUW Michigan to receive more value from their board. A limit of 2 terms maintains the intent of ensuring frequent board turnover, bringing fresh ideas into the mix, also offering good value to the members of AAUW Michigan. On behalf of the Bylaws Committee, I move to amend Article 6, Officers, Section 3A by substituting new Section 3A. It reads, terms of office, except for the President and President-elect, all board members shall be eligible to serve for 2-year terms in the same office or until their successors have been elected or appointed or have assumed office. The President-elect shall be elected for a term of 1 year and shall succeed to a 2-year term as president the following year. The finance vice president shall be eligible for two consecutive 2-year terms in the same office.
Are you at, okay, where I know. It is moved to amend by substituting new Article 6, Section 3A. If adopted, officers would be eligible to serve 2-year terms. This is the opportunity for any comments or amendments the delegates wish to make on the proposed amendment. We have a question at the back of the room on the right, my right.
I'm wondering why you have to repeat that the finance officer. Same question. Same question. Why is it repeated? It says up here all officers are eligible for 2-year terms. And consecutive terms. So why do you say it again? This is.
It was just a mistake. We forgot to delete it because that has already been covered in the previous bylaws. So we will amend that. Thank you.
So if there is no objection, we will amend the amendment by deleting the last sentence. The finance vice president shall be eligible for 2 consecutive 2-year terms in the same office. Is there any objection to that amendment, to the amendment? Hearing none, the amendment is amended. Is there any other discussion on this amendment? Okay. I'm going to start over here with the lady in blue.
I was just wanting a clarification on, it says for 2-year terms or until their successor has been elected. So does that mean that if there weren't a successor, that it could be more than 2 terms? Just wanting a clarification on that language.
They could continue until the president could, and the board could find another person to fill that position.
This is considered current good governance strategy because it ensures that no position is ever left vacant. Okay, there was a question at the back of the room.
Does this apply to state officers or does this apply to branch officers?
This applies only to state officers. And
Well, it may have already been answered. The question is, if you were asked then to be a candidate for a particular office, are you committed then for 4 years? Or do you have an option?
You have an option. To be elected to the state board,
it's expected that you serve for 2 years. You simply have the option to serve for another 2 years if you so choose.
Now, there was one more question, that makes it 2. There was one at the front, I think. They're happy, okay, so Carolyn?
Carolyn Blackmore, I'm just going to clarify then, though, the president, which remains as it is at the moment, is not going to be eligible to do us, because they already do 1 year as president-elect, then they do a 2-year, and this remains that they are not eligible to do a second office.
As it reads, that's correct.
Just clarifying so people understood how that works. It's like a 3-year, whereas the others are all 2-year with the option.
Right. And it starts out with except for the president and president-elect. Yes. Thank you very much.
Is there any further discussion? Okay. We had a question from Rochester.
When I was just reading the beginning, clarification, except for the president and president-elect, wouldn't it just be except for the president-elect, everybody else is a 2-year?
No.
No?
The reason it's except for the president and the president-elect is that the president is not eligible for a second 2-year term. The president may have 1 term as president-elect and 1 term of 2 years as president. Okay, we have a question over on the left.
I just wouldn't be opposed to this, I have to tell you. From my experience in other offices and in our AAUW, I think the broadness and the depth of having new people coming in on a regular basis is more important than having, on occasion, a time when you might have a project that goes over 2 years and somebody who is on the board wants to continue with that. She certainly can as a member or as a subcommittee that the board could have. And I say this with great respect for all of you that have worked on this and feel it's a good idea. But I just want to humbly explain my reason for my movement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of the motion? Deb Kennedy.
I have some personal experience with term limits, and my personal opinion is that it's been very detrimental to our state. Absolutely. Using that rationale, I support the bylaw proposal amendment.
Thank you, Deb.
Is there any further discussion? Carolyn Blackmore.
Yeah, I'd just like to follow up, though, that the board is still going to ask and encourage and seek another new blood. It's just an option, and I think the board would always look for new blood, new membership, new people who may want to do it. And we have an election. It just gives the standing officer the opportunity to also, if they so choose, wish to stand again. But they may choose not to, in which case it would just be new blood.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Are you ready for the question? Okay, this is a bylaw amendment, so it does have to pass by a 2/3 majority. Those in favor, well, I'm not supposed to say that. It does have to pass by a 2/3 vote. I'm sorry, Coco. Those in favor, please raise your blue voting cards. Cards down. Those opposed, please raise your cards. Cards down. The ayes have it, and as there is a 2/3 vote in the affirmative, the amendment is adopted. Let us show our appreciation to Susan and the members of the committee for their considerable effort. Now Susan is going to stay right here because she's also offering the report of the nominating committee. Susan Hampton of the Escanaba Area Branch will present the